Alright people, so I reported on this figure yesterday, and between yesterday and now, I've seen a bunch of different reactions to this release. For some people it's a hard pass, for some people they were super excited, and I just wanted to discuss a couple different things. First thing I wanted to ask is, are you excited for this release? If so, why? If not, why? And then the main idea of this video, I want to get into, is it worth buying? And I usually wouldn't do this, but there's something to be said about, because it's this particular character, there's something to be said about whether it's worth buying or not. Also, I have some extra discussion in regards to the video I did earlier today regarding the voting thing, because I left out some things that I forgot to include some things, so I'm going to include it in here instead of doing like a third video. So first thing first, with this Trunks, is it worth buying? I would say yeah. And it depends. If you didn't have this figure already, definitely worth buying, I think. Now, I think the tricky part for a lot of people is, alright, so one thing I've heard is, why isn't this on a new mold? And I've discussed this before on the channel about how I think they decide which figure is going to get a new mold. And the reason why this is important, particularly for this figure, is because, you know, the other Trunks figure, Future Trunks with the sword and the jacket, jean jacket, he got a figure in the 3.0 mold or 3.5 mold. But, you know, the most updated mold basically. And now we get this Trunks and he's on the 2.0 mold, and it's like, yo, what's up with that? Well, the main difference being is that the other Trunks was on the 1.0 mode, so it was no way that they could afford to, you know, just re-release that as it was. They had to update him to the most updated technology that they have. So there's that. And then another example of this, I'm not going to get too much into this because I have a whole separate video for this. I'll link it in the description. But something like Ultimate Gohan. Ultimate Gohan, his first appearance was on a 1.0 mode. And even though it's a different outfit that he's wearing, look what he got upgraded to, the 3.0 mode. So that's just like a point of reference in regards to that. But like I said, it's definitely worth buying. I think one thing that could turn a lot of people off from this figure is that the original release had the base hair with it. Now, I forgot whose page I was on Instagram, but they basically was like, watch the base hair be DLC or, you know, extra content for another figure. And I think that's definitely possible, but that would be pretty, I can't lie, that would be pretty trash if they actually did that and went through with that. But with that being said, yes, I would say it's worth buying. In terms of this getting like a re-release, it's been 7 years. So people that already have it and they're kind of upset that this is being released again, or this look for Trunks is being released again, you got to remember there's so many collectors that have joined the S.H.Figuarts, you know, collecting community since this line, since 7 years ago or 6 years ago, or how many years it was. It was what, 2016 or something like that? So yeah, about 7 years ago. Now that's a while. That's almost a decade ago this was released. And I guess that's another, you know, gripe, because it's a very old mold, so there was no reason for it to keep it here. Now, there's one little caveat, I think, to the rule that I'm giving, and I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but this is to be expected, because I expect this rule to be broken a couple times in the future. So this is going to take me to, actually, this is actually an excellent segue. Hold on, guys. So here we are back on the voting, you know, website, and there's a bunch of figures that I meant to mention in the previous video that weren't included on this list that I think should have been included. And I also, before we get into that, I want to mention a particular figure on here I think would have fit perfectly, and that is the battle damaged Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, or I guess you could call him Kid Gohan, because he wasn't really a teen at that when he was in the Cell games. He was what, like 9 or 10, going by the manga. But with that being said, Gohan is not on this list, and he's a figure that we haven't seen him for years, even before. He might have been out even before that Trunks figure that just got announced, that I was just talking about. So that's really weird that he wouldn't be on this list, but is it really? And that's what I'm gonna get at. Because previously I was like, oh, 2.0 molds won't get updated. However, this will be a caveat, I think. This is just my theory now. The reason why he's a caveat, because the original Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was a 1.0 mold, right? So we know he's definitely going to get an upgrade when they release a non-battle damage version of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now the only thing is, he got an upgrade when they did the battle damage version to the 2.0 mold, right? Now, the problem with that is, they can't re-release that same figure. Why can't they do it? Because how is it going to look if they do an updated version of the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and then give us this old mold of the same exact Gohan? It's different than the Trunks situation, because at least with the Trunks situation, it's a different outfit. So you can argue that they would have to make a whole entire new mold, but this is basically the same. This is the same exact Gohan. It's just his outfit is torn, so they'll have to do some retooling. So therefore, he might be the caveat of a 2.0 mold having to get a 3.0 upgrade. Now they could still throw a monkey wrench in there and keep him the way he is. However, I'm doubtful, because like I said, after getting it's the same Gohan. It's not like it's a different Gohan or anything of that nature. It's the same exact Gohan. It's just that his clothes are torn. So they're gonna have to upgrade that Gohan, I think, to a 3.0 mold. Now, moving forward beyond that, I want to talk about the figures that weren't included on this list that I think could have replaced some of the figures on this list. And I mentioned some earlier when I did the previous discussion video that I dropped earlier today. But here's some that I forgot to include. Ultra Instinct Goku. Very interesting choice not to put on. Both Jirens. You got the regular Jiren, and then you got the final battle Jiren. Very interesting figures to not include on there. And of course, Classic Broly. Now, I have my theory about Classic Broly. I think a lot of these figures that I just talked about, excluding the Gohan stuff that I just talked about, they either plan to update them or re-release them at a certain point in time. Now, my theory for Broly, or at least something that I'm hoping, it's less a theory and more that I'm hoping that they update the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, where he's super buff and everything. Because while that figure is great, and I'll actually discuss this in a separate video coming soon, hopefully by the end of the week, I think it has some things that need to be updated about it. It's funny enough, still a great figure, technically speaking, but it can definitely be better at this point in time. But I find it funny that that's a heavy-hitting figure, a character that everyone would really want to see, at the very least, re-released. People are not even asking for updated mold for the classic legendary Super Saiyan Broly. They just want the figure. So it's very interesting that they didn't include it on this list. But with that being said, I just wanted to talk about that very briefly. I think, like I said, I'm hoping that they'll do an updated mold, like around Buu Saga, because I already know that they're gonna release the regular base Broly from Z, and they're gonna release the regular Super Saiyan Broly from Z. It's just a matter of time. But with that being said, I think he'll do perfectly. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm discombobulated right now. But with that being said, peace out.